Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Naila Najosomi and my student number is 230203120, and in this video I will be presenting about Albania and the culture of Albania, especially from the perspective of who comes from Aceh in Indonesia. The first thing that I will talk about Albania is the culture, weather, and the food in Albania. So talk about the weather. Albania has a mix of Mediterranean and continental weather. That is mean when it got summer, the weather could be hot, and when it's winter, the weather could be snowy and cold, which means it's really different from Aceh's tropical climate, right? Peoples of Albania are very social. Cafes are always full, even late at night. Social gatherings are usually misgendered. People often stay outside until late. Even though Albania has a Muslim majority population, no one here called to prayer at there, as we know as Azan in Islam, and we won't see people at there wearing Islamic clothing at there because they consider a religion as a private matter. And for the food, in daily life, Albanians don't eat rice as their main foods. They commonly consume like bread, cheese, and meats, and they are also commonly consume like pork and alcohol, even though they are identified as Muslim. Move to the major culture shocks and stereotypes. From Acehnese perspective, the culture shock in Albania can be quite strong to Acehnese people. For example, alcohol is widely available and seems normal in the Albania, even though they're most Muslim at there, but they're still drinking wine or any types of alcohol and seems alcohol as their culture. It's really different to the Islamic law, and it can appear stereotypes from Acehnese people to the Albanians society, that why peoples in Albania still drinking alcohol while Islam is forbid Muslims to drinking alcohol. And for the other culture shocks, social life in Albanians considered clubs, dating, and parties are normal. It can be culture shocks for Acehnese people, and it can appear stereotypes from Acehnese people to the Albanians, that they will have perceptions that the lifestyles in Albanians goes against Islamic values. And also in aspect religions, Albanians consider Islam is just cultural identity because just few people pray or fast. It can lead stereotypes to the Albanians people, that it can appear to statements that why do they call themselves Muslims but don't practice it. And in Albania, they have a very unique body language, that when they are nodding, it means no, and when they are shaking their heads, it means yes, which it's really confusing sometimes because it causes misunderstanding for some people. And there are also other stereotypes that may appear among Indonesian society, especially in Aceh, because they have visited in Albania. This might be, how can they be Muslim while they are still drinking wine and wearing revealing clothes? And is this what Islam looks like outside Indonesia? However, it is important to know that these behaviors come from very different political and historical background. Albania went through decades of atheism during communism, where the religion was banned. So even though so many people in Albania were identified as Muslim, their way of life more influenced by political and culture more than the religion. When we visit a new country, we might face culture shocks, But there are three stages of the culture shock. For the first one is honeymoon phases and culture shock phases, and then the last is adjustment phases. And for the honeymoon phases, we can be very excited at first because we visited a new country. We can really excited of new experience, the architecture, freedoms, everything can very be interesting at first. And then the culture shock phase. After a few days or a few weeks we are visiting in Albania. In this context, we start to noticing some things that make us uncomfortable. For example, when we are in Albania, we see people at there drinking wine at lunch, or we see Muslim people at there wearing revealing clothes, and that makes us uncomfortable. In the adjustment phases, we have to start building the cultural awareness by understanding why Albanians live the way they do, and start realize the form of Islam's that they believe is more cultural than ritual. For example, we have to understand that many people out there don't pray or fast because many of them grew up in the communism era where the religion was bad. And also we can finding halal options and joining religious communities at there. Even though Albania is secular, but there are still friendly religious spaces at there, halal restaurants, and also there are several mosques at there, so we can finding halal food and pray in mosques like we usually do in our country. We have to be respectful but setting boundaries. It's okay to say no to alcohol, parties, or mixed gender events. Usually, Albanians people are really respectful for personal choices as long as you are polite and confident to say it. When you are in adjustment phases, you can adapting to new cultures while keep holding to your own values. So what can we learn? From this experience, we can learn that we may not agree with everything, but we can learn other cultures that may help us to be an open-minded person, respectful and also empathic. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope this presentation helps people to understand about Albania with different perspectives, especially through the lens of someone who grew up in Aceh.